All right, so no clue who's going to join. Facebook's kind of random. Currently on Facebook Live and Instagram Live. This was a tough day to go live, not going to lie. Definitely pushed it to the end. Was just kind of feeling nervous, kind of had a little bit of a tough day. You know, I got a lot done productivity-wise. That's stuff that you don't want to do, you know, like customer service calls. I was probably on waiting for 4 different kind of like utility companies and stuff like that. Basically my whole day. So till the sun went down, I was like on calls. On top of it, a lot of drama going on in my family. Not really like anything, gonna go into too much details, but my poor Graham, who's also my best friend, she's just getting up there in age, and so not childcare, but her well-being and just like taking care of her is kind of up for debate. And I think everyone has the best intentions, but sometimes people don't always agree on what the best way is. Yeah, so she's totally an OG, and I'm just praying that she gets the best possible care possible, and just gets taken care of, which will be dope. Yeah, so welcome again. That's kind of like the hello, how do you do? I know a lot of people been like requesting a ton of people lately on Facebook. If you can, definitely follow me on Instagram. Pretty easy to remember. It's at Shane D. That's me. I also have like at Shane D Real Estate and Mondayvert. But feel free to just follow me on Shane D. That's me for now. Get it started. Yeah, so I'm currently on Facebook and Instagram at the same time. You can't actually do it normally, so I have like my web camera here and then my phone right there, trying to keep my eyes on the screen. But yeah, so as I mentioned, this was something I didn't want to do, but sometimes just because you don't want to do it, if you've made a promise to yourself, it's probably good to actually do it, because part of my definition of integrity is saying what you'll do, and doing what you'll say you do, doing what's expected of you, doing it to the best of your ability. And so it's not really about right or wrong. It's not about good and bad. It's just about workability. And so, if you do those things and when you say you'll do something, you do it, you just start to have like a new way of being. And it's just a really powerful way, almost unstoppable. So I've noted before that I'm actually not drinking or smoking right now. And the drinking's not as hard for me, but smoking was actually something I did for a lot. It's legal where I'm from originally, back in Massachusetts. It's not legal down in South Carolina. Overall, I just kind of had this realization as I'm getting closer to 30 that I don't really want to be smoking forever, and just smells funky. I don't want to smoke in my house. That like lowers the value and stuff like that. So giving that up, which is nice. But definitely it's different dealing with stress, because typically I would either, go out drinking, kind of forget about the night or rather the hard day, or just smoke like, my face off basically and get lost in it, video games and stuff like that. So stress has been a little bit different. I still kind of like to blurt out 4-letter words and, be like, why me and blah, blah, blah. But definitely getting through it. Yeah, so it's important to know, like, I think there was one day that I didn't go live this week, and it's pretty easy. What's up, Max? Yeah, I appreciate it. Definitely. It's good to get out there, and like put yourself in an uncomfortable position just to grow. You can't grow being comfortable. I think we all know that as athletes. But as you get older and you're not really partaking in athletic events as much, there's different ways to challenge yourself. And so going live and just being kind of active and not afraid to show my face and stuff like that on social media has been big. But yeah, it's important. Like if you miss a day, say you're dieting, it's easy to just be like, oh, well, I didn't do my diet today, so why do it tomorrow? But that's kind of like just the same old way of doing things, the easy way out. I think it's actually says a lot about you if you can keep going in that diet, even after failing once, twice, 3 times, because ultimately you chose something like that for a reason. And so for me going live, there's a reason, and it's just important to me to keep going even when I don't do it. And I'm typically really hard on myself, but been working on not being hard or as hard on myself. I see a lot of things. It's like, give yourself the same love you give others. I often give love to others and care and respect. And it's important to give it to yourself too, right? Like give yourself a break, be proud of moments where you can be, maybe not, just, you got to have the ups and the downs. They come together. The highs won't be so high if you don't experience lows. So I got a couple things here on my whiteboard that I want to talk about. So I'm going to go through these. Got a ton of stuff in my notepad. It's probably going to be a longer video. Yeah, Mondayvert. I'll get into it for a second. Yeah, so just to keep it live. So Monday Vert's actually French because I just always was like, I wanted a name of a company that has to do with like green world, sustainability. I just felt like Green World Inc. sounded a little boring or maybe corny. So Monday actually means world in French. And then Vert is green. So that's kind of where it comes from. It's like Green World, just my pretentious way of having that without, sounding as corny. But ultimately, we just believe in like spreading positivity, goodness in the world, trying to recycle, do our part to kind of combat, the impact of global climate change. But I don't think it just is about that. Like, I think a green world and a better world really starts with just spreading love and positivity. So that's our main brand. To even take a 10,000 foot like step back, I remember a TED Talk talked about IBM and Apple and a few other companies, and it's not that they sell a product, a what, they're actually selling the why. Maybe I'll throw in the comments what that TED Talk was so people can watch it. But basically I'm selling the why of like a better world, a happier world, and really just people being fulfilled and, reaching their potential, loving others, community and stuff like that. I see so often communities kind of lost in this day and age. So community is important to me. I think social media is a great way to have it there, but in the same way that social media can bring people together, also can make you feel isolated. Like everyone's having the, greatest time in the world, the most fun. And, just because people are having fun doesn't mean, your existence is any less important or fulfilled. Like sometimes you got to be on that grind mode, and that unlocks kind of future freedoms and future happiness and fulfillment. So I just think one of the biggest things that we want to avoid is comparing ourselves to others. And I definitely have an agenda, but that actually ties into something else. So I've been going to church a lot more recently, and I don't want to push church on anyone. Church is really like a personal choice. For me, it's helpful because it helps me get my mind right. Make sure I'm not doing anything crazy on Saturday night because I want to wake up early on Sunday and do that. Thanks, Franny. I appreciate it. And I'm not a churchgoer by any means. I say my swears, I have my sins and stuff like that, but I think there's a lot to learn about going to church. And so, today or this Sunday was actually about like the 10 Commandments. And one of it was, that really struck home and relates to that is don't covet thy neighbor. And it's like, oh, that's fancy. But really with social media, I think a lot of times people are comparing, this and that. And, oh, this person just went on a trip to, Italy and I'll never get to Europe and my life won't be as good if I don't do that. But really, if you covet and you just, you're jealous and you compare yourself to others, you're always going to be unsatisfied. And I think it's important to find that happiness within. I've seen plenty of people that do a lot of fun things and they're not happy, right? So it's just about that internal happiness for yourself. That'll probably be most of my spiel for church. The last thing I'll say is like, even if it's not church for you, find a group. It could be a local hangout spot or bar, place where they do karaoke, trivia. Try to find your people. Oh, thank you, Franny. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we gotta love the positivity. I mean, there's just so much negativity and stuff like that. So trying to keep the positivity going. But yeah, it's about finding groups. And so I was very lucky in college. I played football and I joined a fraternity. So it was like a ton of friends right off the bat. Not always as close to them as I'd like to be still, but it's just good having community around you. It makes any experience better. Very fortunate with my brokerage, BRG. They're a bunch of great people. But ultimately, I just want a little bit more than that, more than just the working world. And so church has been great for me. Like I said, there's all sorts of things. I post about like bike rides. I'm actually trying to get into comedy a little bit. And so, potentially getting in that space would be interesting for me. Again, I don't really have to go down the list in order. So that's something I want to announce is Terrified. This Sunday, I'm actually going to be doing like an open mic and kind of getting into comedy a little bit. I have a few ideas, nothing hard written. So typically you want to actually have like solid punchlines and jokes. I would say punchlines are probably my least effective part of my stand-up. I have funny ideas and maybe antics, but really nailing down the punchline, the twist, is the art to it. So the only way you're going to get better is doing it, they say. Like it's very hard to kind of write about comedy and not just like perform. So this Sunday, check it out. Hopefully I'll have something I can post about that. Keep going down. Yeah, I got golf tomorrow, which I'm pumped about. Last week was actually pretty good at golf. Surprisingly, I brought back my old way of chipping. Someone had kind of changed the way I chipped, which is always annoying, and someone changes how you do things. But so that's exciting. Kind of looking here real quick. Yeah, so I mean, one thing that's interesting about Myrtle Beach is just in general, it's like really small. Like it seems big, and during the kind of busy season, you probably wouldn't run into the same people too often, maybe see a couple familiar faces. But in the winter, it's really a small world. And so there's all these people that I used to meet over the years visiting my dad. And I'll like meet these new people at my brokerage, and it's so funny. They're like, oh, here's another person. Hold on, my frames are too low. I don't even know how to set that. On Facebook, at least. Let me see if I can quickly fix that, and I'll get back into my point. I am not too sure about that. It's like telling me to up my frames per second, or they'll experience. I mean, just should be a quick button, but it doesn't look like it is. I'll figure that out for next time. So sorry, Facebook, if I'm all choppy. Hopefully Instagram's okay. But yeah, it's a small world. So I'm like introduced to these people from my brokerage, and it's like, oh my God, I know you because my dad introduced me to you like 4 years ago. And it's just really such a small world, the connections and the different people kind of that are connected. There's so many like per capita or per mile. There's actually like more restaurants in Myrtle Beach than London and Paris and stuff like that, which is a pretty crazy fact. And yet somehow you'll still see the same 3 people, in these different places you go and that aren't really that connected. I don't know if it just has to do with like similar vibes or, someone just at one place like, oh, you got to check this one out. But it is just funny how I'm like, oh, I know this person. And, it's a very small world, a lot of interconnections. And I actually like that. Nothing's wrong with it. But up in Boston, sometimes, you just like, you could go to the same bar 5 times and still not see the same people. It's such a random crapshoot, and I think it's so expensive that people don't always go out. Maybe attribute it to happy hour and some good happy hour deals, some good eats, because you definitely run into some of the same people in Myrtle Beach, which I like. I think for some people they'd be like, oh, I don't want to keep seeing the same people, but there's something cool about it. It's like almost like one big college town in a way, and it's kind of like college for adults in a way. All right, so let's see what else I can say. I want to apologize to my number 1 fan out there, Ray. I am working on your website a little bit slower, candidly, but I will get it done. So even if it takes an all-nighter this week, you will get your website updated. Just something I'm kind of working on the side, helping her get her like beauty and beautician. I should actually drop the name of it. I'm gonna like try to multitask and get it open while I'm talking about other things, but it's like Precision Beauty. Give me 1 second, I'll have that open for you. But yeah, no, so today was kind of a lot. Got a lot of like utility calls down. I actually lowered my Verizon bill a little bit. So, just suggesting if you guys have been avoiding a certain call because you don't want to deal with call centers, just get after it. Nothing better than getting it done. So I got that lowered. I'm also getting my internet provider to put like a faster Ethernet cable in my upstairs. At first, they just put it in my downstairs, which is not ideal because I'm just not using it yet. So it is precisionbeauty.net. That will be the website up and coming, but definitely check out Precision Beauty if you're ever down in Myrtle Beach and you need some spa work done and some beautician, esthetician stuff. She's a great gal and will definitely help you out. One thing I'm trying to commit to is a workout or bike ride. And speaking of like not giving up if you miss something, today I did not work out, but my goal actually right after this call, there's nothing stopping me from just riding my bike around the neighborhood a little bit. And I have actually weights in my gym, so I'm going to try to get a little workout in there as well. Good news, I got 2 new buyer clients, or at least one solid one and one that's supposed to get back to me and might put in an offer. One came from the open house that I hosted, which is why you do those, which is great. Really would love to find a buyer for the person that listed, and that would be great for me to get a little bit of extra business. And then also because of my kind of presence on social media, I actually had an old friend of my dad's reach out, someone that I actually used to coach football with back when I was too heavy to play. That's another story for another day. But yeah, so I mean, it just comes full circle, with real estate and marketing yourself. They say just keep sticking with it. A lot of people will try something for a couple weeks and then give it up. And obviously, like if you only do something for a couple of weeks, like there's no consistency there. You're not going to see as much results. Like if you went to the gym and just went 3 weeks and expected to lose all that weight, like that's not going to happen, right? And so it's an ongoing thing. And really for me, like being on social media is not just about building real estate. Like it is, I would love to be an influencer and get paid, probably an unrealistic goal. But more realistic is just being there for people, being a clearing for people to reach out to and be themselves with, really just being positive overall. Pretty interesting. Snapchat just told me to add a friend, someone that I should have. I mean, they're my ex-girlfriend, so unless they have a new Snapchat or something, not sure why it would tell me that, or they like deleted me on Snapchat. All good. But yeah, so I mean, I got the 2 new buyer clients. I actually have 2 open houses this weekend. So if you find yourself in the area, I'll certainly post about it, but it would be awesome to see more people come by. We had a great turnout last week and expect to have another great one kind of this week. Yeah, I mean, what's very interesting is actually on Saturday, I'll be hosting 2 at once. A nice little, a triple threat on the open house, but it'll be me, 2 places. You kind of see it once there. So definitely come check it out. The other one I'll be showing is kind of the one I saw this weekend, which I really liked a lot. I think there's potential in it. You're right on a golf course. You're on the tee. Not really where they're going to be slicing or hooking into you, but where you just get a nice view. Don't tell the golf course I said this, but I'm sure you could run out there kind of after hours, get a couple holes in or something like that. Just walk a hole, get it in there. I think it's a golfer's dream. Short-term rentals allowed. And so, from being from Boston, you can golf year round down here. You buy something up like that. You come down in the winter, you play a couple rounds, you rent it out for other golfers. And then in the summer when it's busy, I mean, you're just going to make a killing. And so, definitely reach out to me if there's any interest there. But yeah, just been getting excited. I know I posted earlier in the week, but just want to kind of mention on this call that just the 21st, actually yesterday, was 7 years since I bought my first house, something I'm very proud of. I miss that house dearly. As much as I like this new house, there's just something quirky about an old, Dutch colonial. Thoughts on the Burr method? I don't know if I know that specifically. I'm sure I'm like familiar with the concepts, but I'll have to Google that. So I'll give a live Google. Can't hurt. Let's see if it Burr method. Oh, in real estate. Okay. For the savvy investor. Look at that. I'm learning something from you. Buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. Absolutely. And so, as I mentioned, I wasn't familiar with the acronym, but I've heard of many people who, that's actually more private equity, which I got a bone to pick with private equity funds investing in residential. But what they'll do, right, is they buy a house. They say they buy it for a nice clean amount, like we'll say 100,000, unrealistic, but 100,000 they'll buy. They put 20% back in, right? And so you up the value to like 120. And you can write off most of that work anyways. You're going to, write off depreciation. I'm no tax expert, but that's the point of investing. And what you do is you rent it for like 7 years. Because for those 7 years, you'll actually kind of get a good return, good cash flows and stuff like that. And then over 7 years, you tend to make money, right? In the market, they say the best investment in a house is 5 years ago. And so by holding on 7 years, you're going to make money. And so I definitely believe in that, Max. If I had money, believe me, I'd be buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. The problem with that, I would say, and what's tough for kind of early investors, the rehab part can be tough. So you're not always going to get a lender to give you money. But if you can, back that up yourself, you have the means to kind of do the work, I definitely suggest the BRRR method. And definitely repeat is the key there. You can do that. I think it's called like 1030. So you don't even get taxes when you sell it if you just within 6 months go to another property. So that's how people are always making money. Way easier said than done on the rehab part. Quickly touching on private equity. I think where private equity is helpful in housing markets is they can take properties that no one else is going to buy or be able to finance. They can fix it up. And if they're getting out of there in 7 years, I think I'm okay with it. Where I struggle is like these big corporations that have thousands of units, not even just talking an apartment building, like they're buying up houses, and they're just burning the market down. And so, yeah, absolutely. I'd love to talk to you, Max. I mean, it seems like you know some stuff. I've recently kind of went in, I think it's called like the 70% rule. Yeah, I know, right? BlackRock. It's actually, I mean, not that my company did real estate, but just private equity in general was something I didn't quite align with 100%. I just feel like, my dad's a union guy. You make all that money in your 401k, and then you actually end up like barely making like 6% returns. And they think, oh, that's great. But if you look at it, all these other companies are making millions, billions, and trillions off of other people's hard-earned money. And I'm not saying they don't deserve it. I'm just saying it's sad when you actually see like on the left side, they're making 30% profit. And then what actually gets back to the people is like 6%. You're totally right. Like BlackRock runs America probably more than we want to think. I have, strong opinions about private equity and kind of private investors owning residential. I don't think it's fair. I do think kind of places that need restoration, it is a appropriate place because there's some instances where a normal person wouldn't be able to fix it up, right? And so I definitely think with moderation, like anything, private equity is okay in residential, but yeah, no, absolutely can be a killer for people trying to get stuff. I think that's most of my items, believe it or not, which is awesome. Yeah, let's see. The last thing I wanted to do, believe it or not, even though I'm kind of spiritual and religious, I've just been like into an astrology kick. So I'm going to do a quick, let's see. I'll do like a yes, no, and just read it. I go to astrology.com. I'm going to do it based on my comedy routine. Cause I'm not going to lie. That is like the dark cloud over my head. Cause I'm like, now I've said it. So I can't really ditch it. I've signed up for it already. We will see how I do. I'll probably bomb the first time, and that's kind of expected. But yeah, we'll see it. So when you're like, well, kilter, crushing on someone, is a daily tarot. I'm not going to do the yes, no. I'm going to do a daily tarot, but I'm going to ask about, my comedy routine and how it's going to go. So let's see. This in itself is comedy. Didn't want to load. Close unused. Oh, nice. My Facebook is experiencing issues because I have too many windows and stuff open. Probably will help once my HTC gets a little bit better. That's my internet connection. All right, so we're pulling a card, and I'm asking, how is my comedy show going to go? What type of insights do I need? Oh, the Fool. Okay. What? See, I like astrology because even though it's like there's only 20 cards and they're all going to sound connected, you pull the Fool when you're asking about comedy. So this is one of those days when everything is up in the air and you doubt that you could do much even if you tried. Nonetheless, things can go well when some unexpected good luck comes your way. Your carefree attitude can attract some unexpected help to keep you going and to make things interesting, if not fun. Uncertainty can be inspiring in its own way. And I tell you, like, how could that not align more? I have no idea how my comedy is going to go. And they're telling me right here that uncertainty can be inspiring in its own way. And I tell you it is, because when you throw your hat over that wall, when you just give in to fear and you just get over it, nothing better than that feeling. I equate it kind of to wrestling. And so in wrestling, when you get your hand raised, it's just very hard to explain. And I would say it's kind of just like getting over your own obstacles. No one's to blame, no one's to thank but yourself. And that's not true because you have coaches and teammates and stuff like that. But in the moment, it's really just a very fulfilling, it's just self-righteous probably isn't the word. But yeah, no, I just really like that. And so I pulled the card called the Fool. If you ever want to check astrology.com, there's just like daily tarots, little like horoscopes. I always love doing that. And this one's basically telling me just to kind of like enjoy the ride. That's how I hear it. And, the uncertainty and the fear of doing is kind of where it comes from. And so, stay tuned. During the week, I'll probably preview a little bit around what my stand-up routine is going to be. Anyone tuning in, hopefully wish me luck for golf tomorrow. The absolute last thing I'll say that I'm going to try to do is take some of these videos I've posted, chop them up a little bit, maybe post the full version on YouTube, do some shorts, really try to take over social media. I have no idea what I'm doing. I used to suck at social media, kind of was against it. Trying to be more, creator than consumer on it. But I get it. Like I'm sitting there sometimes getting stuck on my phone, consuming social media. Hopefully I brought a little positivity to the world today. Thanks everyone for joining. Max, love the engagement. Definitely reach out, dude. If you don't have my number, I'm actually probably going to just like DM you it. I'd love to, pick your brain. It's been too long. It's hard making new friends when you're older. So it's probably good to just kind of rekindle old friendships. But yeah, no, definitely I encourage everyone to reach out. Hope you all are living your best life. It's Monday, best day of the week. Kind of inside joke there. Yeah, absolutely, Max. My pleasure, dude. It was nice chilling with you. Peace out, yo. Do a little quick dance. Throw my hand signs. All right, yo. Peace out. I'm going to say no.